A Promised Land. Page 13. The First Amendment is great, but why does the U.S. government say nothing about the political prisoners in my country? The 2 years I spent at Occidental represented the start of my political awakening, but that didn't mean I believed in politics. With few exceptions, everything I observed about politicians seemed dubious. The blow-dried hair, the wolfish grins, the bromides and self-peddling on TV, while behind closed doors, they curried the favor of corporations and other moneyed interests. They were actors in a rigged game, decided, and I wanted no part of it. What did capture my attention was something broader and less conventional, not political campaigns but social movements, where ordinary people joined together to make change. I became a student of the suffragists and early labor organizers, of Gandhi and Lech Walesa and the African National Congress. Most of all, I was inspired by the young leaders of the civil rights movement, not just Dr. King, but John Lewis and Bob Moses, Fannie Lou Hamer and Diane Nash, in their heroic efforts going door to register voters, sitting down at lunch counters, and marching to freedom songs. I saw the possibility of practicing the values my mother had taught me.
How you could build power not by putting others down, but by lifting them up.
This was true democracy at work, democracy not as a gift from on high, or a division of spoils between interest groups, but rather democracy that was earned, the work of everybody. The result was not just a change in material conditions, but a sense of dignity, for people and communities, a bond between those who had once seemed far apart. This, I decided, was an ideal worth pursuing. I just needed focus. After my sophomore year, I transferred to Columbia University, figuring it would be a new start. For 3 years in New York, holed up in a series of dilapidated apartments, largely shorn of old friends and bad habits. I lived like a monk, reading, writing, filling up journals, rarely bothering with college parties or even eating hot meals. I got lost in my head, preoccupied with questions that seemed to layer themselves one over the next. What made some movements succeed where others failed? Was it a sign of success when portions of a cause were absorbed by conventional politics, or was it a sign that the cause had been hijacked? When was compromise acceptable, and when was it selling out? And how did one know the difference? Oh, how earnest I was then, how fierce and humorless. When I look back on my journal entries from this time, I feel a great affection for the young man that I was, aching to make a mark on the world, wanting to be a part of something grand and idealistic, which evidence seemed to indicate did not exist. This was America in the early 1980s. After all, the social movements of the previous decade had lost their vibrancy. That's the end of the page 13. For resume reading, please press the next button, or press the next end screen on the right side of the screen for page 14.